What happens when a teenage girl is abandoned by her family, judged by her community, and left to raise a baby all on her own? Only to discover that the boy who fathered her child is hiding a secret that could change everything. This is a story of heartbreak, courage, and the kind of love that refuses to give up. Welcome to Folktales Hub. Please hit the subscribe button and share. Let me tell you a story. A story about choices, about love, about shame, and about grace. It happened not so long ago in a small town just outside Johannesburg, South Africa. The streets were dusty, the houses close enough that neighbors always knew each other's business, and the sound of church bells could be heard almost every evening. In that town lived a girl named Lerato. She was only 17, but life had already placed a heavy crown of responsibility on her head. She wasn't just a student anymore, she was a mother. A mother to a tiny baby girl named Naledi, whose name means star. And truly Naledi was her star. Her reason for waking up, for pushing forward, even when the whole world seemed to turn against her. The story begins with a slammed door. It was the door of her parents' house. No, 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 please. Don't do this to me. Lerato cried, tears burning her face. Her mother stood stiff, arms folded, voice sharp. We've made our decision, Lerato. You have made your bed. Now you must lie in it. But Mama, where am I supposed to go? Lerato pleaded. Her father wouldn't even look at her. He simply said, that's up to you. But you will not raise that child under this roof. Not in shame. Not in front of your siblings. The door shut. And just like that, Lerato's world broke into pieces. She walked down the street that night with a bag too small for all her worries, holding her baby tight against her chest. The baby was barely 3 weeks old. She had no money, no plan, no home. All she knew was that her parents had cast her out because in their eyes, she had shamed the family name. That's how she found herself in a cheap roadside motel, one of those places where the curtains never fully close and the smell of fried food lingers in the hallways. She paid for 2 nights with the little money she had saved from working part-time at a tuck shop before the pregnancy. Single room. 58 rand, the man at reception had said, not even looking her in the eyes. The room was small. The sheets were rough. But at least it had a roof. At least it was shelter for Naledi. Lerato sat on the edge of the bed that night, holding her baby close, whispering, it's just you and me now, Naledi. I don't know how, but I'll take care of you. Her tears dripped onto the baby's blanket, but she forced herself to stay strong. Now, Lerato wasn't entirely alone. There was Thabo, the boy who loved her, the father of her child. But Thabo had his own secret. He still lived under the strict rule of his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Makona, a respected church-going couple who were proud of their son and believed he was destined for great things. They spoke about him as if he were already a saint. Walk in righteousness, Thabo. His father always reminded him. Keep good company, his mother added. They didn't know their son had fathered a child. They didn't know he had been sneaking away, carrying money and small bags of baby formula to Lerato at the motel. He was living in 2 worlds. In one, the perfect church boy. In the other, a young man struggling to be a father in secret. Lerato still tried to go to school, though it felt impossible. Her teachers looked at her differently now. Some with pity, some with judgment. One morning, her math teacher, Mrs. Tully, said in front of the whole class, when you make poor choices, there are always consequences. Some of you don't even show up half the time. The class went silent. Everyone knew who she was talking about. Lerato kept her eyes on her notebook, wishing the floor would swallow her. Why even bother? One of the girls whispered behind her. She should just drop out. But Lerato didn't drop out. Because she believed if she could just finish school, maybe she could give Naledi a better life. One afternoon, Lerato stumbled upon a small church giving away free baby supplies. She thought it was a miracle. Inside, an older woman greeted her warmly. Hello, my child. I'm Mohamed Lamini. Come, let me help you. Mohamed Lamini was kind. She placed tins of formula and packets of diapers into a bag for Lerato. She even smiled at little Naledi, tickling her tiny toes. But not everyone at that church was like Mama Dlamini. There was also Sister Jacobs, a woman who loved to sit in the front pew and point out other people's sins. When she saw Lerato, her lips curled. Later, she whispered to another member, "That girl is irresponsible, playing house with a baby. It's a shame." And the whispers spread, as whispers always do. You see, Sister Jacobs believed she was doing the right thing. So one Sunday after service, she picked up her phone and called Child Protective Services. "There's a young girl, maybe 17, living in a motel with a baby," she said. "Unsafe conditions. Inadequate food. Someone must intervene." Her voice was firm, but she wasn't motivated by love. It was pride. Judgment. She thought she was saving a child, when really, she was trying to punish a mother. The next day, Lerato heard a knock at her motel door. She opened it to find a woman with a clipboard. "Hello. I'm with Child Protective Services. I'm here to make sure you and your child are okay." Lerato's heart nearly stopped. "CPS. Who called you?" "I'm afraid I can't say. But may I come in?" The worker looked around the room. She saw that Naledi was fed, warm, and loved. Lerato said quietly, "It's mostly just me. But she's okay. I'm doing my best." The woman nodded. "I can see that. Thank you for your time. I'll be in touch." When she left, Lerato sank to her knees, holding Naledi close. "I won't let anyone take you from me," she whispered. "I promise." Meanwhile, at the Makona house, life went on as normal. Every evening, Tobo's family prayed before dinner. His parents thanked God for their son, praising his discipline, his focus, his righteousness. They had no idea he was sneaking money from his allowance to buy diapers and milk. At the table, Tobo wanted so badly to tell them the truth. "Mom, Dad, I have something to say." He started one evening. But before he could finish, his mother interrupted. "Oh, by the way, Sister Pauline has planned a salsa-making fundraiser for the church. Isn't that wonderful?" They moved on. The moment passed. And Tobo stayed silent. But the secret weighed on him heavier and heavier. Back at the motel, Lerato and Tobo argued in hushed voices. "We can't keep living like this," Tobo said. "Then tell your parents," Lerato shot back. "I will. I'm not ready." She stared at him, tired and frustrated. "We're 17, Tobo. Naledi deserves more than motel rooms and whispered promises." He took her hand. "I know. But we'll figure it out. One day at a time." And that's how they lived. One day at a time. But storms don't wait forever. Secrets have a way of coming out. Because while Lerato tried to keep her head down, while Tobo tried to balance two worlds, while the whispers in church grew louder, a moment was coming. A moment when truth would crash through their carefully built walls. And when it did, their lives and their families would never be the same again. Sometimes in life you can carry a secret so long, it feels like it's part of your skin. You walk around with it, eat with it, sleep with it, and yet, deep down you know one day it will come out. That's how it was for Tobo. Every day, he carried the secret of his child, little Naledi, and every day the weight of that truth grew heavier. And for Lerato, life was becoming harder too. What started as whispers and side glances soon turned into open judgment. A storm was gathering, and no matter how tightly she held on to her baby, she knew it was only a matter of time before it broke. By the second week at the motel, Lerato was running out of money. Her savings were almost gone, and even with Tobo sneaking money to her, it was not enough. Formula was expensive. Diapers were expensive. Even the cheapest room cost more than they could afford. At night, she would stare at the ceiling, whispering prayers. "God, I don't know what to do. Please show me a way. Don't let them take Naledi from me." The baby would cry, and Lerato would rock her in her arms, whispering promises she wasn't sure she could keep. Back at school, things weren't any easier. Her teachers saw her as a distraction. Her classmates treated her like an outcast. Why even bother coming? one boy laughed when she showed up late, carrying a diaper bag. Lerato kept her head down, but inside her heart ached. Her math teacher, Mrs. Tully, spoke to a colleague in the hallway, not realizing Lerato could hear. She's irresponsible. She thinks she can juggle school and a baby. It's impossible. Another teacher tried to defend her. But she's trying. Isn't that worth something? Mrs. Tully shook her head. Trying isn't enough. That child needs stability. She can't provide it. The words cut deep. Lerato wanted to scream. I am providing. I'm doing everything I can. But instead she just walked on. The only place Lerato felt some relief was at Mohamed Lamini's church pantry. Every week, Mohamed Lamini set aside a little extra. An extra can of formula, a second pack of diapers. Hang in there, my girl, she would say, stroking Naledi's cheek. Babies grow fast. You'll grow too. You are stronger than you know. For Lerato, those words were like medicine. Because sometimes a kind word is the only thing that keeps you standing. But not everyone thought kindness was the answer. One evening, Tabo sat across from Lerato in the motel room. He looked exhausted. His school books spread across the bed next to him. Lerato, he began softly, I've been thinking maybe we should look into adoption. Her head snapped up. What? I'm not saying I want to give her away. I love Naledi too. But we're only 17. We haven't even graduated. We have no jobs, no money. Maybe she deserves more than this. Tears welled up in Lerato's eyes. You want me to give up my baby? No, I want us to think about it. Maybe there's a family out there who can give her everything we can't right now. Lerato clutched Naledi to her chest. I'm not giving her up. I don't care if we're broke. I don't care if we struggle. It is mine. She's all I have. Tabo sighed. He didn't push further, but the thought stayed between them like an invisible wall. Meanwhile, at Tabo's house, his parents lived in blissful ignorance. Each night, Mr. Makona prayed over their son. Father God, thank you for our son Tabo, who walks in your light. Thank you that he stays focused on you, unlike so many other young people who have wandered astray. Mrs. Makona always added, we are so proud of you, Tabo. You will go far. Tabo would bow his head, his stomach in knots. Because how could he sit there receiving their praise when just a few kilometers away? His child was lying in a motel crib, crying for milk. And then came another knock. The CPS worker returned. Hello again, Lerato. I just need to follow up. This time she looked more closely. You're young. Do you have anyone supporting you? She asked gently. It's mostly me, Lerato admitted. But she's fed. Is warm. She's loved. The woman nodded. That's good. But you can't do this alone forever. You need stability. After she left, Lerato collapsed onto the bed, sobbing. Stability. That word haunted her. Back at church, Sister Jacobs kept stirring the pot. Have you seen that girl? Living in sin, trying to raise a child with no husband. It's disgraceful. She spoke loudly enough for others to hear. Some nodded in agreement. Others stayed quiet, uncomfortable. But no one defended Lerato openly. Except Mohamed Lamini, who finally said, Judge not, lest you be judged. That girl is doing her best. What she needs is support, not condemnation. But Sister Jacobs only sniffed. Support only encourages irresponsibility. The church, the place that was supposed to be a refuge, had become another battlefield for Lerato's dignity. Tabo was reaching his breaking point. He could barely focus in class. He was lying to his parents daily. His friends noticed he was distant, distracted. One evening after dinner, he almost confessed again. Mom, Dad, I have something important to tell you, he started. But his father clapped him on the back. Not now, son. We're discussing the church fundraiser. We want you to help with it. Tabo swallowed his words. Yes, Dad. But inside, the pressure was suffocating him. That night, he went to the motel. I'm going to tell them, he said, pacing the small room. I can't keep lying. They deserve to know. Lorato froze. Tabo, if you tell them, what if they take you away from me? What if they hate me more than they already do? He stopped looking at her. I don't care what they think of me. But I'm tired of living a double life. I'm tired of sneaking around. Naledi is my daughter too. Tears filled Lorato's eyes. She was terrified. But she also knew he was right. Secrets can only stay buried for so long. The next Sunday, the pastor preached about the parable of the lost sheep. How the shepherd left the 99 to find the one, he said. Because heaven rejoices when even one lost soul is found. Lorato sat in the back, Naledi in her arms, listening. The words pierced her heart. Am I the lost sheep? She wondered. And if so, will anyone come looking for me? The CPS worker filed her report. The child is healthy. Basic needs are being met. The mother is cooperative, she wrote. When Sister Jacobs heard this, she was furious. That can't be right. That baby deserves better. But the worker closed the file. She's doing the best she can with what she has. And for now, that is enough. It wasn't the answer Sister Jacobs wanted. But it was the truth. That night, back at the motel, Lorato rocked Naledi to sleep. Promise me, my little star, she whispered, that you'll hold on. I don't know how we'll make it, but I promise I'll never let you go. I'll fight for you, even if the whole world stands against me. Tabo stood in the doorway, watching her. His heart swelled with love and fear all at once. He knew what he had to do. He had to tell the truth. And so, as the days passed, everything in their small town seemed to build toward that moment. The judgment, the secrets, the whispers, the lies. All of it was pushing toward one night, one dinner table, when Tabo would finally open his mouth and speak the words that would shatter his parents' perfect image of their son. And what would happen then? Would they reject him? Reject Lorato? Reject Naledi? Or would they finally see that love, though messy, was worth more than pride? The storm was coming, and there would be no stopping it. There comes a moment in every storm when the rain must fall, when the thunder must crash, when the secret that's been hidden in the shadows must finally be dragged into the light. For Tabo, that moment had arrived. He had carried his secret long enough. He had lied long enough. And though fear clawed at his chest, he knew, if he didn't speak now, he would lose Lorato, lose Naledi, and lose himself. It was an ordinary evening in the Makona household. The smell of pap and stew filled the kitchen. The radio hummed faint gospel songs, and the family gathered around the dinner table. Mr. Makona began as always, bowing his head in prayer. Father God, thank you for this food, thank you for the many blessings in our lives, and most of all, thank you for our son Tabo. He has stayed on the right path, focused on your word. Unlike others, he has not wandered. We know you have great plans for him. Mrs. Makona added softly. We are so proud of you, my son. Tabo's throat tightened. Those words, we are so proud of you, stabbed him like knives. Because if they only knew the truth, would they still say it? When the prayer ended, his father looked up with a smile. So, son, how was school today? Tabo's hands trembled under the table. He had promised Lorato he would do this. Tonight. No more silence. Mom, Dad, he said, his voice shaking. I have something to tell you. And it's not easy. Please, just listen to me until I'm done. His parents exchanged puzzled glances. Tabo swallowed hard. Lorato. The girl who got pregnant last year. She's not just someone I know. She's my girlfriend. We've been together for more than a year. And the baby. Naledi, she's mine. I'm her father. Silence. A heavy, suffocating silence fell across the table. Then his mother gasped, hand flying to her mouth. No, no, Tabo. Say it's not true. His father's face hardened, fists tightening. You've been lying to us. All this time. I'm sorry, Tabo whispered. I never meant to hurt you. I just didn't know how to tell you. You have a child, his mother cried. At 17. Do you realize what you've done? The shame you've brought to this family. Mr. Makona's voice thundered. We raised you better than this. You were supposed to be the example, the righteous one, the one who would make us proud. Tobo's voice cracked. I'm still me. I'm still your son. But I'm also a father now. And I love her. I love both of them. The house trembled with tension. I don't care what anyone thinks, Tobo said desperately. Naledi is my daughter. And Lerato, she's doing everything she can. We're struggling, yes. But she's trying. She loves that baby. She doesn't deserve to be judged like this. His mother shook her head, tears streaming. She trapped you. She ruined your future. No, Tobo shouted, slamming his hand on the table. Stop blaming her. I was there too. It was my choice too. Don't put it all on her. His father rose from his chair, anger and disappointment in his eyes. You have disgraced us, Tobo. But Tobo stood too, voice breaking. No, Dad. What would disgrace me is abandoning my child. What would disgrace me is pretending she doesn't exist. I won't do that. Not anymore. At that moment there was a knock at the door. When Mrs. Makona opened it, her jaw dropped. There stood Lerato, baby Naledi in her arms, her eyes wide with fear but also determination. I'm sorry to come uninvited, Lerato said softly. But Tobo told me he would tell you tonight. Thought maybe you should see her. See your granddaughter. The room went still. Mrs. Makona stared at the tiny baby bundled in blankets. Mr. Makona's eyes softened for just a fraction of a second before hardening again. This is Naledi, Lerato whispered. She's yours too. Your blood. I know you hate me. I know you think I ruined your son's life. But please don't take it out on her. She held the baby out slightly. Do you want to hold her? For a long moment no one moved. Then slowly, with trembling hands, Mrs. Makona stepped forward. She reached out, and Lerato placed the baby in her arms. Naledi stirred, blinking up at her grandmother with big, innocent eyes. Something broke inside Mrs. Makona. Her tears flowed freely now, but not from anger. From love. From recognition. From the undeniable truth that this child was part of her. She has your nose, she whispered to Tobo. He nodded, tears streaming down his own cheeks. Mr. Makona still stood stiff, arms crossed. But even he could not stop his eyes from softening as he looked at the baby. Blood is powerful. Family is powerful. The silence stretched until finally, Lerato spoke. I know I'm not what you wanted for your son. I know I don't have money or stability. But I love this child. I would rather starve than see her go hungry. I would rather be homeless than give her up. Please believe me when I say, I'm trying. Her voice cracked. But I can't do it alone. Tobo stepped beside her, placing an arm around her shoulders. And she shouldn't have to. Mrs. Makona looked down at Naledi again, the baby's tiny fingers wrapping around hers. A grandmother's heart could not resist. She turned to her husband. We can't turn them away. It is ours too. Our son's child. Our granddaughter. Mr. Makona's jaw clenched. He struggled, pride battling with compassion. But finally his shoulders sagged. He spoke slowly, heavily. You lied to us, Tobo. You hid this from us. But you're right. This child is family. And family must stay together. That night, for the first time in weeks, Lerato and Naledi slept in a real home. Not a motel. Not under judgmental stares. But in the Makona house, surrounded by warmth. Mrs. Makona set up a small crib in Tobo's room. She cooked a hot meal for Lerato. And though Mr. Makona remained quiet, his presence was no longer cold. As Lerato lay down, she whispered to Naledi. You see, my star. We're not alone anymore. We are family. It wasn't easy. Acceptance didn't come overnight. At school, whispers still followed Lerato. At church, Sister Jacobs raised her eyebrows in disapproval. But now, when people whispered, Lerato walked with her head a little higher. because she knew she had a home to return to. And when Sister Jacobs muttered one Sunday, "Such a shame, such a waste," Mohammed Lamini stood tall and replied, "No, it's grace, it's love. And that's worth more than judgment." One evening, Mr. Makona finally sat with his son on the porch. "You disappointed me, Tabo," he said honestly. "I dreamed of a different future for you. But maybe this is the path God had for you all along. Responsibility, sacrifice, love." Tabo's eyes filled with tears. "I don't want to disappoint you, Dad. I just want to be a good father." Mr. Makona placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then be one. Be better than I was. That is all I ask." For the first time, Tabo felt his father's pride, not in the image of perfection, but in the reality of his choice to stand by his family. Looking back, it's easy to see how quickly people judge, how easily families break, and how hard life can be when you carry a burden too heavy for your shoulders. But it's also easy to see how love, messy, complicated, stubborn love, can change hearts. Lerato thought she had lost everything the night her parents slammed the door. But she found something greater: the strength to fight for her child, the courage to stand in the face of judgment, and the power of family restored. And Tabo, the boy caught between two worlds, became a man the moment he chose truth over fear. As the sun set over their small town weeks later, the Makona family sat together in the living room. Naledi lay sleeping peacefully in her grandmother's arms. Lerato sat beside Tabo, their hands entwined. They were not perfect. Their future was still uncertain. But for the first time they were not alone. They were not hiding. They were a family. And sometimes that is the miracle we need most. Not riches, not perfection, but simply the courage to love and the grace to forgive.